a.m. update. I was going to make a 12 a.m. update, but the Florida Ultra News Network got a hold of me. So I'm going to lay down and do this update because I'm getting a cramp.
Hey everyone, today I want to talk about a recent backyard ultra I just did, explain why things didn't go my way, talk about what I did wrong, what I did right, but more importantly, I want to talk about the event as a whole, highlight the competitors that I ran with, and just give a look into one of the best backyard ultras that Florida has to offer. Now, if you were following me before the race, going into this race, I had a crazy goal of 200 miles. I hit 104 miles and dropped out, so it was pretty devastating at the time to only hit a little over half of my distance goal, but I think I made the right choice, and I'll go over why. As you see, I'm not too beat up about it. While I was pretty devastated immediately after that happening, after a few hours, not even a few days, after a few hours of self-reflection, I realized that 104 miles, it's still great. I may have set goals that were too high. I made some poor decisions, but I did something amazing and I came out of it feeling, very good, very fresh. And here I am, 4 or 5 days after the race, back to training, back to running, weightlifting. So, I am disappointed I dropped out so early, but at the end of the day, I think I made the right decision for me personally going forward. And I learned a lot this race. So let's get right into it. Now, to start off with, the race in general, Deathat Dupuis, backyards in general, they're awesome because most runners out there aren't trying to go for, first place. There's only one first place. I would say probably half to 75% of the runners went out there with a goal of just hitting a distance PR. Now, for some people, this was 8 miles. For some, it was 30. For some, it was 60. So the beauty of these events are that the people that are just planning on going out there running 30 quick miles, like that's pretty incredible. Don't think I'm saying just run 30 miles, but the point is the people that are running 30 miles compared to the people that are planning on running 100 plus, we all line up at the same time. We all run together. The paces of the people that are running 5, 10, 20 miles, it's the same as the paces of the people that are running, 150, 180. So it's a very unique event where you line up in the crowd next to each other every single hour. And for the most part, you're running next to each other, not knowing if that person next to you is going to dip out after 4 or 5 hours of running, or if they're going to try to go overnight multiple days. So it's such a unique event, and Deathat Dupuis especially, the Florida ultra running community, it's incredible. And so it was, I wish I would have gone into the event this weekend less competitive, with a more sense of community, kind of like Matt Clapper did. I will talk about Matt Clapper. He won the race this year. He was an absolute inspiration. So I do wish I would have gone into the event at the Dupuis as more of a member of the community, as more, chit-chatted more with people. And so that's something that coming into the race next year, I'm going to try to be more of a leader for the community, try to be more of an inspiration for other runners and not just, be in my head and doing my own thing. Another aspect of this race that I love too is that the trails, they were amazing. They were well maintained. I never got bored. One of the fears of mine was that I was going to get bored. The trails, they were great. Not much more to say. They were engaging. They were runnable. There was a few sections where some hogs had rooted up the course, but even then it wasn't too bad and you could still run through those sections. The worst part though was at night you went on a dirt road. That was kind of boring, but even at the same time, there was no way to get lost. So you can kind of turn your brain off, get the miles done without fear of tripping over something in the dark. So even though at night it was a little more boring, the format of the race, it lended itself very well to it because, like I said, turn your mind off, run, keep a steady pace, and keep on going. Now, like I said, before I get into my stuff, I want to talk about Matt Clapper. Matt Clapper was a force to be reckoned with out there. And I'm not saying that because he was this intimidating figure, even though he is physically imposing. He embodied everything that I believe ultra running should be about, that I want to strive to be about. He was a leader out there. For the most part, he was running, doing his own thing, keeping his own pace, but I'm not sure during the daytime loops, but at night, there was a group of 4 or 5 runners that were following right behind him, keeping up pace with him. He was doing a 3-minute run, 1-minute walk interval, and the other runners were just following him, taking his lead. He led by his actions, not by his words. And what I mean by that was that he wasn't barking out orders. He wasn't, offering, constant words of encouragement. it was once every 20, 30 minutes, he would say, "Good job, guys, let's keep going. We got 1 mile left. Keep pushing, we're almost there." It was these little phrases that he would utter in between his pacing, him being a leader, that, man, I was like, I need to be more like him. Like I said, the whole race, I was kind of in my own head, doing my own thing. I talked a little bit with other runners, but for the most part, I was in this for myself and not for the community. And Matt's whole thing was that we're doing this together, we're all running this together. And up until those final few yards where it's him and another guy, we're all doing this incredible accomplishment together. So going into the race next year, continuing this year, I want to be more like Clapper and just be someone that inspires others to do better. I try to do that already, but this weekend really showed me that, I have a lot of room for growth, and I'm willing to put in the work and become that person that I want to be. Now let's get into my race. I truly believe that I could have gone 200 miles this weekend if I would have made proper physical decisions and also had a better mindset. So I can sit here and say, oh, I could do this, if, ands, or buts. The truth is I only got 104, and that's what that was my limit this weekend. But yeah, like I said, I do believe I could have gone 200 if I would have made the perfect decisions, but I didn't. I didn't. And I'm fine with that. I'm fine with taking out of this weekend the fact that I learned a lot. And what I want to start with right now is what I did wrong. But first, before I go over what I did right, because I didn't do many things wrong, but the things I did do wrong were very, very impactful, and I learned a lot from it. So what better place to start? Now, first was my pacing. My pacing, I stuck to my plan 100%, which turned out to be a poor decision because I was trying to get 42 to 44 minute loops. This was turning into 44 to 46 minute loops. So this worked out because I was able to get, a decent amount of sleep. I was coming in at 44, 45 minutes. I was getting a good 10 minutes of sleep, tossing my shoes on, getting in the starting corral and getting ready to go. But what I sacrificed though was my legs. Man, when I threw in the towel that morning, when I handed in my stuff, my legs were aching and I was at risk of potentially timing out on the loops. Now, yeah, the mental aspect is there too. I was looking at Clapper, Sholey, Andrea, some of the other females alone. They were looking so fresh out there. And I know it was part of, they may be putting on a show. They're not going to show weakness, but my legs hurt so bad that I knew how far I could probably go. I think I had a good 130, maybe 150 miles in my legs that weekend, but I knew to win this thing, I would have to go much further than that, and that was getting in my head too. Now, could I have rallied back and got some energy back in my legs, done some slower loops, kind of come close to that cutoff, reserve some energy, then gone back out and got it? Maybe. I don't know. I don't know because I didn't try. I didn't do it. So after the fact, like I said, I'm not disappointed. I do wish I would have tried to push my limit a little harder, but mentally I checked out. And I started thinking about upcoming races and said, it's just not my day. Now, my next mistake was being too competitive. This led me to be in my own head, try to run my own race, which is usually a good thing. But with this kind of format, I've read about it. I saw it firsthand that it's more of a community event. You need to rely on others to, set your pace, push you forward, keep you motivated. And I was way too much in my own head, way too much focused on winning. This was especially apparent over the night loops where I came in first, probably 10 out of 12 of the night loops, just because partially for pacing issues, I wanted to get back in the starting corral, lay down, get some sleep. But also I wanted to show the other runners that I was feeling fresh, I was feeling good. And sometimes I pushed it a little harder just to try to get in their heads where, that wasn't a good idea. I'm going to say right now, the race doesn't start until at least 24 hours in. And here I was at 18, 19, 20 hours trying to posture up, try to get in their heads, which if I was a better runner, that would have worked. But what I should have been doing was focusing more on following others, kind of staying with the pack. And I didn't do that. So yeah, I was way too competitive. And like I said, going forward this year, next year, all future races, I want to be more like Matt Clapper and some of the other runners out there and just be more of a motivational force for others, run my own race, be competitive, but also, not forget that there's a bunch of other people out here running it and, we're all in this together. Next, I didn't have a crew for this race. Really poor decision. It wasn't as poor as I thought it was gonna turn out to be. Right before the race, I was like, man, I really should have got a crew. What's gonna happen? Really, the detrimental effect was that I probably lost 1, 2, maybe 3 minutes between loops. It's getting my stuff ready, making food. I did have Kalo Axum. He came out here. He helped me out a little bit for the daytime hours. He would make me a sandwich, get me something to drink, and it was really nice because it gave me 1, maybe 2 minutes between loops just to stop, sit down, not screw with anything. And 1 to 2 minutes doesn't sound like a lot, but over the course of 24, 25 plus hours, 1 to 2 minutes per loop, that adds up, and that could have been more rest that I could have gotten over the nighttime hours. Additionally, I would have also probably had if I had a good crew, they would have told me to slow down at night. So they would have been looking at the other competitors, looking at me coming in, said, hey Mike, maybe slow down a bit. I may or may not have listened to them because, like I said, I had this game plan. I thought I knew the best. I actually didn't, obviously, but it may have made a difference. Finally, with a crew, when I have a crew, I feel like I'm not only running for myself, but I'm running for them. So I feel like maybe having a crew would have pushed me to run maybe one more yard, maybe 2 more yards, hit 108, 112 miles. And like I said, maybe I would have got a, second wind, been more motivated and gone out and tried to push a little bit harder. But hey, like I said, can't go back, can't go back in time. So next year I will have a crew going out to Deathat Dupuis, and hopefully that makes quite a bit of difference because it's always easier having a crew. It's never easier running by yourself. And I'm not gonna lie, I kind of wanted to brag a little bit about not having a crew when I did so well, just to say, hey, look, you don't need a crew. So next year, gonna have a crew. So I'm probably gonna ask you guys, hey, anybody want to crew me? So be ready for that. Now, my final mistake kind of encapsulates everything I just talked about, which was being overconfident and not looking to learn from this event. This was my first backyard ultra, and I had done all this research. I have done all these other races, and I came in thinking, man, I know what I'm doing. I'm not gonna learn anything. I have my game plan. And that screwed me. I should have come into this race as my first backyard ultra with no distance goal, and the only goal being to learn the format, to see how my body reacted, and to enjoy the experience. If I would have come in like that, I would have enjoyed the experience a lot more. I did have a great time, but I was stressed out the whole time thinking about winning. So I should have come into this event with an open mind, with the sense of awe and just ready to learn about this awesome format. And not gonna lie, going into future backyard ultras and also other, not just backyard ultras, other races, I'm gonna go into them much more with an open-mindedness and what am I gonna learn today? What am I gonna learn from this race? And that's something that for the last few races I've been kind of getting a little cocky and thinking I know it all. So you need humbling events like this. You need to get your ass beat down every once in a while and come back, be more focused, ready to train, ready to learn, ready to get at that next challenge. So all negatives aside, I'm coming out of this way hungrier, ready for that next event, and I'll get into that more in a minute. But I just want to say that overconfidence played a huge role in this, and I'm not going to make that mistake again. Now, after all that, after what I did wrong, I do need to say that my previous race experience, all my research I did on this format, I did do a lot of things right. I did a lot of things right, and I want to go over that and touch upon some things that I'm going to take into future races, and perhaps things that you can take into your future races. So let's jump right into it. And staring at my notes, that's professional. No, I have a couple notes down here, so I'm trying to talk off the cuff, but I have a few bullet points that I want to hit. So fourth wall break. Now, the first positive thing I did is actually on my negative list, but I do think it's very important, and it is that I stuck to my race plan. I stuck to my pacing plan, my nutrition plan, my hydration plan. It just so happened that my pacing plan wasn't the best plan for me. It didn't work out for me, but I did stick to it. I did have certain goals that I wanted to meet, and even at night when things were hurting a bit, when I wasn't quite sure of what I was doing, I said, hey, I have a plan. I'm going to stick to that plan. So I do commend myself for sticking to the plan, for sticking to this. I did so much research before the race, and I was like, this is what I'm going to do. So I trusted my plan. The plan just wasn't the best for me. So wisdom is knowing when to follow your race plan blindly, when to trust 100% in yourself, but also when to when to break that race plan, when to look at your competitors and say, man, they're doing something different. Maybe I'm doing something wrong. So wisdom is knowing the difference between those two. And hopefully going forward to future races, I have more knowledge. Hopefully I have a bit more wisdom, and I can take that lesson, take that feeling, take that mentality, and do better in future races. My next positive was my nutrition and hydration during the race. Man, I was on point like the whole time. At the beginning of the race, I was eating at least once every hour. Toward the nighttime loops, it was once every about hour and a half. I was just taking in real food. I was taking in turkey wraps, ramen noodles. Between those feeding windows, I would have a gel or a power bar. So I was constantly feeding, and I really felt that. I really felt that, cognitively and physically, that I was getting enough nutrition and hydration. So man, that was on point. I'm really happy I stuck with that. Also, when I would get done with the loop, especially at night, I would lay down, I'd want to rest, but the first thing I did, even if I didn't want to, was I would shove food in my mouth, I would eat it. That way I could lay prone, let my heart rate go down, let the blood go back to the gut instead of, from the legs and the extremities, let the blood and oxygen go to the gut, digest, so that way by the time I started the next loop, I was feeling good. Avoid stomach aches. That's a big thing, is that when you're running, especially if you're running as hard as I was at night, like an idiot, it's sometimes hard to take in nutrition because that oxygen gets diverted from your gut. So I was really making sure that between those loops, I was eating big meals, and then out on the loops, I was having like a gel, maybe a small bite of food. So yeah, nutrition on point. Now my final positive was my pre-race cross training. Man, like I said, I ended the race due to some mental fatigue, but also physical fatigue. When I say physical fatigue, I'm more talking about a bit of muscle soreness. My knees, my calves, my hamstrings, they were a little sore. But in terms of structural integrity, everything was feeling really good. My feet, my ankles, my knees, my hips, my upper and lower back, my core. I felt, even after I threw in the towel, I was walking around, I felt strong, which leads me to believe I had way more miles in my legs. But my point is that the things that I did, it really bulletproofed my body, and especially my core and lower back. I usually get done with these races, the lower back's tight, upper back, the shoulders kind of hurt, the legs always hurt, but those things hurt, a lot too. This race, I got done, got home, and I was like, I feel good. I can start training again this week. And lo and behold, 2-3 days later, I'm back to doing some light running, some heavy weightlifting, and going into this weekend, the weekend after the race, I'll be pretty much back to, close to normal running. So yeah, I do wish I would have put more of myself out there on the course, but I am happy that I called it early. That way I can get back into training a lot quicker. And I do owe a lot to my cross training for bulletproofing my body and giving me the ability to hold up to such grueling miles. I'm talking about 104 miles like, man, I dropped out at mile 10 of a marathon. But no, 104 miles, that I still have to keep stepping back and reminding myself that that's still an amazing accomplishment. And a lot of you guys haven't even hit 100 miles, so I almost feel kind of like an asshole for saying I'm so disappointed with hitting over 100 miles. But the truth is that it's all relative. I am very proud that I did hit this mileage, and I'm also proud of the cross training I did and the training I did, the physical mental preparation. So yeah, I'm just very proud that I trained as hard as I did. I came into this as prepared as I did. Just wish I would have done some things different. Now the final point I want to make, kind of going back to those negatives a little bit, is that I don't know if this is quite a negative, it's just something, it's an observation, let's say, is that I wish I would have gotten more weekly mileage in prior to this race. I had a lot of races lined up prior to this, so I'd have a race, I'd recover, build back up, another race, recover, build back up. And I think I would have benefited way more from, maybe eliminating some of those races, or even just, keeping those races, but then just pushing myself to build up to a higher mileage week, maybe towed the line of that functional overtraining. Part of me wishes, maybe done a little less cross training, more running, but like I just said, the cross training I think was a huge benefit to me personally. So going into future races, I'm going to try to up my mileage and just get in better race shape prior to a race, not schedule so many races back to back to back. So yeah, not quite a negative. Also, on that too, I was able to balance my mental health. So spend time with the family, get my training in, go to races, be happy. And so yeah, I don't have any regrets for the volume or lack of volume I did. I think I did everything that was right for me personally. So yeah, just a note. So that's Deathat Dupuis. That's Clapper. That's the positive. That's the negatives. Yeah, I love this event. I love what it did to me physically and mentally. It humbled me. It humbled me so much that I'm going to make some changes to my nutrition. I'm going to make some changes to my training. Mostly, button up my nutrition. I have a crazy sweet tooth, so I'm going to try some different approaches to my diet that I may or may not document. I'll probably document them. I'll screw it. I'm doing a low carb diet right now. I'm doing a low carb diet just because I don't have a race coming up for another 3 months, which is Funis 50K followed by Cruel Jewel 100. So I do have a brief window where I can try out a different diet, and if it doesn't work out, then I could say, screw it, going back to high carbs. But right now, I want to do some low carbs just to just do kind of a reset. Like I said, I have this sweet tooth, and I can't seem to moderate myself, so I'm like, screw it, let's go scorched earth, go low carb, do a reset. If after 2 to 4 weeks I hate it, then whatever. But so my nutrition's going to be a little more buttoned up, and also I'm going to try to get more weekly mileage. My cross training right now, I think it's the perfect amount. I'll go over that in a later video and not bore everyone here if you don't give a shit about that. But my cross training is excellent. I just think that I can up my weekly mileage, maybe have a few more speed days in there, maybe do a few rucksacking days because, the mountain races, they're hard on the legs. So I feel like maybe some rucking training days will benefit greatly. But yeah, I'm coming back for my future races with a humility and a newfound respect for the race courses, my competitors. And yeah, I'm positive. It really sucks to miss my goal by that much. As I mentioned, I wanted 200 miles and I only got 104. What's wrong with me? But like I said, taking a step back, realizing that 104 miles is amazing, realizing that I have the ability, the time, the job, the family, the means that allows me to do these crazy events. I appreciate that every single day. I need to take more of a step back and really, show my appreciation to my family, my job, my community. So I'm leaving this race. It sounds corny, but I'm leaving this race as a better person with a newfound, revamped aspect on life. And I'm just excited to get to training. Yeah, I'm excited. So I'm not going to drone on any longer. I'm going to let you guys go. I hope you enjoyed some of the course footage I showed in this video. It was an amazing event. And like I said, I hope to see everyone out there next year, whether you're being competitive or you just plan on running, 10, 20 miles. Come out and enjoy the community. Enjoy seeing what the ultra running community is all about. Because, we're going to be out there. We're going to be having fun. So we really hope to see you out there. Yeah, that's it. Thank you guys for watching. I appreciate all of you. Thank you so much if you've been following my journey. If this is the first video you've seen of me, I hope you like what you see. I hope you like my attitude. I try to keep positive. So yeah, let's get out there. Let's do something amazing. Hope to see you all at future races. Thank you guys so much. I love you.